There is a difference between a fact and an inference. This is so important, right? Now, a lot of you are taking courses in philosophy, or you've had a background in philosophy, so I get it. This may be, I'm not be stating this in a way that is consistent with the history of philosophy on issues of epistemology, but this is how we would talk about it in front of a jury. Okay, so I just want to offer it to you that way. Here's what I mean when I say that there's a difference between a fact and an inference. On your screen, you see that facts are the kinds of pieces of evidence that we use and from which we infer a conclusion. So we get these facts together and we present them to a jury, and we have a case now in which we think we've made the case that this defendant is guilty on the basis of these facts on one side of your screen, and the case file, the inference, the conclusion on the other side of the screen. Now, wouldn't it be great if the only thing that was in play here were just the facts, and we teach you the rules of evidence, so here are the rules of evidence we've taught you, and all you have weighing on this decision, impacting this decision, influencing this decision, is just the raw facts and the rules of evidence that guide your thought process. But unfortunately, you know as well as I do, that's not all that's in play with jurors. Jurors can watch the same case and come to different conclusions. Why does that happen? Well, because there are other things in play. Each of us is wired differently, even shaped, created differently, gifted differently by God. Each of us has got our own set of memories, our own set of experiences that we bring to the table. Each of us has got our own preferences, our own biases. We're all got some preference or bias, I get that. And each of us has got some set of passions that pulls us in one direction or the other. And it turns out all of these things that I'm listing for you on the screen, these are the things that often decide how we infer from facts. It's kind of like we start off in the same place, like this car, and we, there's a couple of different places we could end up. And what determines how we end up in one place or the other is all that stuff we just talked about. This is the stuff that sometimes is every bit as powerful, if not more powerful, than the actual evidence itself. So I'll give you an example of how this might play out. As an apologist, I see this also. We've got some set of evidences here. I'm showing them as scientific evidences. And some people will look at the evidence from science, and they are committed to the belief that the evidence makes a good, strong case for Darwinian evolution. That they think is the most proper inference from evidence. Yet, I wrote a whole book called God's Crime Scene in which I used the exact same set of physical evidences and I hope demonstrated why the best inference from those evidences was in fact Christian theism. Now, how is it that both of us in two different groups can be using the same set of scientific evidences, but then end up in two different places? Well, it's that stuff in the middle we just talked about. Often, it's that stuff in the middle. Now, I will also just give you a little extra bonus for this session, my pet peeve with this expression, settled science. I hear this all the time, this idea of settled science, even in criminal trials. As if to say that, the inference of Darwinian evolution is settled science. I hear this all the time. Oh, evolution is settled science. Really? How could that ever be? Now, you might be able to say on this side that there is settled facts because we can look and say, well, look, I found his fingerprint there. That's a fact. I just found his DNA over here. That's a fact. But the inference from those facts, that's something entirely different. You could definitely both agree it's settled that there was a fingerprint and DNA on this podium. But what to infer from that, that's not settled. That's an inference. So at least let's be fair about this. There are we could probably get closer to settled facts than we could ever get closer to settled inferences. Inferences are what we infer from the stuff that is clear to us, that we both agree on. By the way, both sides, defense attorneys and prosecutors, will agree that, as a matter of fact, often we'll present 6 weeks of evidence in a criminal trial, and that person, as the defense attorney, that person will not present any new evidence. They'll simply offer what they think is a better inference from the evidence we've already presented. So they already agreed that the facts are settled, but the inference from facts, that's not settled. So if we're going to say that Darwinism or that Darwinian evolution is settled, it's settled science, we simply have applied the word settled to the wrong side of the screen. Facts can be settled. The evidence at the scene can be settled. But the inference from the evidence, that's something that requires our thinking processes. That's not settled. Thanks so much for watching our video. If it was helpful and useful to you, I'd really appreciate it if you would follow us, subscribe to our channel at the bottom link here in the video, and tell your friends. And please follow us on social media.